I'm gonna get all that time boxing. I'm tired of all these unborn Negroes. You talk from two sides of your mouth. One to the white and one to the black.
Fueled by such polarizing hostility, Madison Square Garden sold out in a day. Millions more would be made in theaters around the world via closed-circuit sales.
The garden inside and outside was almost riotous. For blocks around, it was choked with people. It was not unlike Times Square on a New Year's Eve. There's something about the night of a heavyweight championship fight. You can feel it in the air. It's raw and it's primal, and there's the smell of bloodlust, and it was thick and powerful that night.
The Madison Square Garden crowd was more vocal than anything I have ever heard at any sporting event ever. No matter what its size, they never let up from the moment those two fighters came in view. It was the most electric moment I have ever experienced.
15 rounds for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world.
And so, at last, on March 8, 1971, Frazier and Ali confronted each other before the world, each a symbol of opposing views on politics, race, and manhood. Even their boxing techniques were vastly different.
Muhammad Ali in the red trunks, Joe Frazier in the green trunks. They appear very light.
Frazier only had one way of fighting, and that was volume of punches. Boom, 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 bore in, go straight ahead. Take 3 punches to deliver 1. Ali had to adjust to that.
Don't you know, God? I said, God, you're in the wrong place tonight. I'm kicking butt and taking name.
Through the first 8 rounds, the 27-year-old Frazier was ahead on 2 scorecards and even on the 3rd.
In the 9th round, suddenly Ali came alive and started flailing away and with hard, clean combinations, and that sort of stopped Frazier in his tracks.
Muhammad Ali, flat on his feet, not up on his toes.
In the 11th, the champion retaliated with a fusillade of left hooks. For the next 3 rounds, each fighter pounded the other with full weaponry to an almost levitating roar of 20,000. Then, in the last round, Frazier put Ali right where he wanted him.
Time is important here.
Joe Frazier leaped about, it seemed, 7 feet in the air and threw this left hook, and it was flush.
And he caught him right on the chin and down.
The winner by unanimous decision and still heavyweight champion of the world, Joe Frazier.
March 8, 71, I cried my eyeballs out. Cried my eyeballs out. Not just because he lost, but because he symbolized so much. It wasn't about sports. It was about war, it was about race, it was about politics, it was about society, it was about generations. Add to that it was 2 undefeated heavyweight champions. Pretty big stuff.
However satisfying, Frazier's victory would almost cost him his life.
Frazier goes to the hospital, and within 2 days, my phones are banked with calls that he's dead.
We thought Joe was in the hospital in intensive care.
His kidneys shut down. He said somebody came in the room and just touched his hand, and he said he never saw the person again, I never know, but he said he thought it was an angel that touched him and said, hey, it's gonna be all right.
This basically captured people's best and worst of all feelings. And maybe it was those people that were calling me who hoped he was dead because he destroyed their symbol.
Ali had done an interview the next day with his jaw swollen and said, look how pretty I am. Who do you think won that fight?
They can call him the champion, but I'm the champion. I whooped him. I don't care what a few officials say.
People said, well, maybe you won, maybe you didn't. Problem is, they didn't give Joe credit. Joe beat Muhammad Ali on that night. That's all there was to it, period. He beat him.
Now, what you guys gonna say now? What can you say now? Huh?
I made everybody a liar, and I made everybody a believer. I was the butterfly.
Would you greet the new heavyweight champ of the world, Joe Frazier, and the Knockouts?
As the undisputed champion of the world, the 27-0 Frazier allowed us to see a lighter, more lyrical side than the dark brooder who had confronted his nemesis.
Oh, yes, it is. Like a knockout try. Come on, fellas, tell me all about it.
Joe approached me and said he wanted to get active with a band, and we got together and we named it the Knockouts. Each year he would get an album and 2 or 3 singles to do, and that's what started Joe's musical career.
Joe was enthusiastic. He went out there and he belted out the lyrics, but Joe was not meant to be a, cabaret performer.
Back in the boxing ring, Frazier made short work of lesser lights Terry Daniels and Ron Stander. Waiting in the wings, however, was a man who stirred fear in the heart of the Frazier camp. 6'3", 217-pound George Foreman.
Conventional wisdom is that Joe took the fight over Yancey Durham's objections, that Yank didn't want him to fight Foreman, and Joe's pride got in the way, and he said, make the fight. And they did, and the discrepancy in size and strength is obvious right from the weigh-in.
He thought he could beat George because George was never a great fighter. He's just a strong guy, big son of a bitch, and could punch.
You saw the left hook land on Foreman. That's what he'll be working on all night.
Joe was hitting him, but he couldn't hurt him.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
When my father fell the first time, I started laughing, man. I was like, Daddy, stop playing, Daddy. Why are you playing? And then I could hear Cosella.
Foreman is all over Joe Frazier. Frazier is down again.
When my father fell the second time, man, I got mad. I was like, Daddy, stop playing. Why you playing, Daddy?
2 knockdowns in the first round of Joe Frazier. Down again.
And then the reality hit me. After about 3 or 4 more times he fell, I was like, man, Daddy's not playing. And that was the first time in my life that I realized that my dad was human.
Frazier's knees buckled. He is down. He is down for the 4th time in the fight.
To have Joe Frazier down almost 6 times, probably the greatest moment of my professional career to that point.
A quick left from George. Another. Frazier is down for the 5th time in this fight.
Couldn't believe it was happening. I just couldn't believe it.
Joe is standing. There he goes.
And I kept knocking him down because I was afraid he was going to get up and get me.
It is over. It is over. It is over in the 2nd round. George Foreman is the heavyweight champion of the world.
7 months after his loss to Foreman in January of 1973, Frazier suffered another setback. His alter ego, mentor, and manager, Yank Durham, died following a stroke. Although close friend and cornerman Eddie Futch stepped in to fill the void, Frazier's desire seemed on the wane. But the coals within him stirred when he signed to fight Ali again, and their dirty pre-fight dancing resumed.
Why you think I'm equal? Sit down, Joe. Huh? Sit down quick. Why you think I'm equal? The brothers are here. Doing this too?
Whatever happened, something happened, and Frazier went crazy.
Sit down quick, Joe.
Well, we're having a scene, as you can see.
There are people to this day who think Cosell may have instigated the whole thing, but he didn't. I mean, Ali instigated the whole thing.
It's hard to tell whether it's clowning or for real between the 2 fighters.
I think Howard was astonished. He was absolutely astonished. And I think he thought it was real and somebody was going to get hurt, maybe him.
This kind of thing has been going on all along in terms of promotion of the fight, and this time it seems to be for real.
Here was real emotion, and Ali being Ali and Frazier being Frazier, it was quite a moment.
In contrast to the sound and fury of the promotion, the 12-round bout was relatively uneventful as Ali won by decision in January of 1974. While Frazier stewed, Ali rumbled in the jungle, regaining his crown by knocking out Foreman in Kinshasa, Zaire. In July of 1975, Frazier and Ali agreed to a 3rd match.
Each man had won 1. This was the tiebreaker. This was a penultimate fight.
there was something much more important at stake. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier were fighting for the heavyweight championship of each other. They both understood that whoever won this fight, well, that's who history was going to recognize as the greater fighter.